Welcome to Supplier Spot Spotlight, the podcast where we shine a light on the RV, park, and campground outdoor hospitality industry. Join us as we chat with suppliers, park owners, and staff, uncovering insights, strategies, and stories that will elevate your outdoor experience. Get ready for inspiration and innovation in every episode.
Hey everybody, Bobby Sorden here again with Supplier Spotlight Podcast. It's always a mouthful to say. I'm here with the great Joe. I'm probably going to mess up your name. I mess up everybody's last name. I should say this before I get started, but Joe, is it Dumig or
Dumig? Yes, Joe
Dumig. Perfect. All right, just like it's spelled. All right, cool. So I'm always figured I should always get that squared away first before we start recording. But anyways, these are casual fun. So I got Joe Dumig here with App My Community, and I know for a fact, just because we were talking before off camera, that his counterpart and probably the brains of everything is sitting right next to him. If she's still there, Rose, are you still there? Yep, there she is. I knew she is. So, that's Rose Dumig, his wife. So just wanted to say hi and thanks for being on today, both of you. I know, Joe, you're probably going to do a lot of talking, but I told Rose off camera, hey, pop in anytime if you say anything, because these are casual. And, we're just going to learn a little bit about you and App My Community. So how you doing, Joe?
I'm doing great.
Great. Thanks again for being on, taking time out of the busy day and our busy schedule. I know we've tried doing this a couple times between your schedule and my schedule, but we're on now. And I have to say, it was good seeing you and your family traveling around the country this summer. And I think you have a Class A, right?
Yes, we have a Tour Outlaw. It's a Class A toy hauler. It's an interesting one because you go up to places and a lot of people have never seen them before.
Yeah, I know you were telling me about it at one of the shows we were at, and I was like, wow, that's kind of a cool concept because, I have a Harley, and I was like, hey, I could just roll that Harley in the back of the Class A toy hauler. So I'll have to check into that. But when we were talking off camera, too, I was bummed because you came through Colorado Springs, where I'm based out of, and I was out of town that weekend that you were here, and I was like, oh, what are the odds? But glad you got to see my hometown here, and you went into Manitou Springs, which is a beautiful area, and went up Pikes Peak and all that good stuff. So.
I think 2 or 3 of our children, their favorite town was Manitou Springs. So,
yeah, it's a cool little town.
We were out for 2 months, visited 5 or 6 customers, and then some other places that we just wanted to really go to. This is our first time staying with our first customer since we started our product. So that was awesome. They've been a customer for 7 years, and so it was kind of nice kind of talking with them, seeing the park again, and giving some pointers and tips on the best way to do things.
Yeah, that's great. So we're going to get all into that, too. I can't wait to hear more about what App My Community, how it got started. But before we get started, first of all, thank you for supporting me with Supplier Spot. We've known each other for, I think, a couple years now from going to these conferences from when I worked for my previous company. I know we've had a lot of fun. I know one thing I remember is teaching Gary back when he was with Arvik, but now Ojai. Gary, teaching him how to play craps in Michigan, and you were standing right behind us. And the one thing I loved the most about you is you just kept bringing us the drinks. And I was like, oh, this is great. Joe's awesome. You don't have to leave the table. So it was great. But that was a lot of fun. That was a good little show. I like going to Michigan there at the casino and just great people there too. So
a
lot of good memories hanging out with you.
A lot of the shows are really just great people. It's I really enjoy being there. Like leaving my family, and we have 6 children. And so leaving poor Rose with 6 of them by herself. Is I never want to do too long, but man, I do enjoy going to the shows.
Yeah, but I'm sure her with the 6 children is better than having the 7th child there. So
okay, I am going to jump in now, Bobby, because when I hear about bringing drinks and the fun stuff, right?
I shouldn't have said anything, huh, Joe? I'm sorry. I meant water, Rose. She brings the water to keep us hydrated, so we can stay.
I know how it really is.
No, that's the great thing about it. Is we all network and have fun. I know, Rose, I got to meet you at one of the shows too, so it was great to see you at one of the shows. So I'm looking forward to the upcoming ones here as well. But again, thanks for supporting Supplier Spot. You've given me a lot of good pointers and stuff over the last 9-10 months. I finally got the new site up and going. There's a few little bugs and glitches that I'm working through, but just minor things. So what are your thoughts about Supplier Spot, and what do you think about how it helps the industry and everything? So
I think it's a great idea to have another marketplace. We have a fairly limited amount of places that vendors for RV parks can kind of get in touch with an RV park, right? So your options are kind of trade shows and a few publications.
Yeah.
and maybe some email blasts, but we've never done anything really like that. So
Yeah.
it's very limited in the way that vendors can reach out to park owners and park owners can find vendors,
Yeah.
especially kind of for a product like ours where a lot of most of our customers can't live without us anymore. But
Mhm.
when we walked into their office and said, "Hey, what do you think about doing this?" They weren't looking for anything like that. And so, for when somebody is coming to Supplier Spot and maybe they're looking for a reservation system because every park needs that,
Mhm.
they can kind of see what other offerings are out there that they might not have known they needed.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's my goal behind it is just to have like the saying, the slogan, one stop spot.
Mhm.
And again, my job as a marketing person, that's my background, marketing business development, is I help market the suppliers such as yourself to all the RV parks and campgrounds. When I go to these shows, I can say,
Mhm.
hey, if you jump on here and Joe, who's right over there at that booth at my community, is right here on Supplier Spot, so you can connect to him quickly. And that's my thought process behind it. So, I support all the associations. I have them all on there that want to be on there, of course, listed, and I promote their
Mhm.
shows. And I'm really happy with the conference link that I have on there because I put all the conferences that I know about. Plus, if there's anything that anybody else knows about, they can certainly submit on through the conferences area. I've showed that a few times in past podcasts. So if you know of any shows coming up that are not on there, please, by all means, just, go on and let me, pop it on there and show me, kind of put it on there if you can. So,
Yeah, I'll double check for
bring,
sure.
yeah, so cool. Well, I'm actually going to bring it up here real quick while we're talking and chit chatting. So, the new Supplier Spot website, I got it up and going. Everything's functioning the way it should. A few minor little glitches that I'm working out here, but the great thing about it is I can just come up here and type in app my, because I know it's at my community, which is what we're going to get into now. And boom, you pop up right there, your mobile apps for campgrounds and RV resorts. So, when you click on that, it brings up all your information, has, your cover and all your info and what you do. So it's got a little picture of how some of the apps look for some of them. It looks like Four-Filled Pond is one of your clients there.
That's kind of our demo.
Yeah. Oh, is it a demo? Okay. Well, we'll call it a client. But anyway, so yeah, and of course, the great thing about this is you can go on and change this anytime you want to. So other suppliers out there, whenever you create your account, you just go up and update it as many pictures as you want. I'm working on maybe doing video modules as well. So if people want to have like a little video on there or commercials, so just come right up here and click call now, and there's your phone number, and there's send an email directly to you, or they can send you a direct message to the site if they didn't want to go through email, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Leave a review. Now, the cool thing about the review too is the review is not necessarily for you as a whole, where they're like, oh, well, Joe and Rose over there, they're not very good. I'm not going to recommend them whatsoever. I won't allow reviews like that on there. It's more of like the interaction they had with you on the site. Like, oh, hey, I contacted Joe and Rose or whoever. I contacted Joe and they got back to me right away, or something like that. My job is not to make this like a review based type platform. It's more of like just a directory where they can find people. So, and of course, website or directions if people want to know where you're at. But so yeah, it's cool to see you're on there.
Yeah, I
Appreciate
need
the
to do some updates. Get a new cover photo on there,
Yeah.
And some other social media places. I know Rose modifies LinkedIn quite a bit.
Yeah.
Probably more so than our Facebook page. So
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what's cool about it too is you do have a Facebook social on here. But whenever you have your LinkedIn, just throw it on there as well once you log in. So you can add as many of those social networks that you want on there. So great way. And yeah, anytime you want to do updates, you can. I know you said you've been working on like the last 6 months for developing brand new technology and everything. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about at my community. How to get started. First of all, there's always a story of how businesses get started. So let's hear yours.
yeah, I wouldn't say necessarily out of necessity, but we were kind of scratching our own itch, right? So we were camping, and it was really the first time we went camping. We were staying with my dad, who is a member at a membership resort, and we went into this resort, had a wonderful time. The park was beautiful. They had tons of activities for the children, lots of things to do, and so it was great. But there were 3 or 4 different times where we did not get the information that we needed to have a better time. So we didn't know what activities were going on. We checked in a different way than the majority check in. And so we didn't have an activity list. And we saw the kiddie train go by. And at the time we had 4 young little girls that are staring at this train just driving past them, and with a little awe in their eyes, and then sadness that they couldn't be on it. So, So that was the first thing. And then some inclement weather was over the mountains. You couldn't really see it. And things closed and there was no way of knowing. And so, and there's a couple other little places of communication. And so we thought about it. We thought, man, I can't believe that people have to go all the way to the other side of the park to find this bulletin board that has a list of activities on it. And so we thought, man, we could just have an app. I was a developer. Rose was in hospitality. She used to work, she used to do meeting event management as well as working the front desk at a Ritz-Carlton. And so those kind of backgrounds collide together. And yeah, here's our story right here.
Yeah, here's your story, yeah. No, this is not set up, people. Just so you know, this is not rehearsed whatsoever. I'm just looking through the website while he's talking. So.
Yep, and well, it's a good story. So, we kind of put our brains together and thought, man, an app. Everyone always has their phone on them. They would have all that information anywhere they would go. And so, like I said, my dad's a little more a little more experienced. So we kind of talked with him about certain things that he would need. And then I worked in usability a lot. So trying to think about the ways to make it easy for like work campers to administer the product, for anyone of any age to use the product. And then just kind of features that I know, they would need. Like my dad would never have mentioned to me that it should be good for the campgrounds to be able to advertise.
Yeah.
And then, but in my head, I'm like, well, they're going to want to monetize this in some way, shape, or form. And about probably not half of our campgrounds, but maybe a quarter of our campgrounds, they are making money off of their app directly as opposed to indirectly.
I mean, I know if I had a service that was directly for, campgrounds, such as like a food truck or a kayak rental or something, I'd pay to advertise on that campgrounds app to say, heck,
for sure.
Marketing dollars.
Mobile RV repair, having every time the app opens and showing who the mobile RV repair in the area is great.
Yeah.
We went to a park and I had a slide that wasn't going out. And so I tried to search for and find and called up 3 different mobile RV repair places to try to figure this out. Never did. I ended up having to figure it out on my own, but
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just it. That's the great thing about it is having them on there. So, the RV techs are very important, especially when you're out there trying to camp and have a good time. And, I used to pull a 36-foot fifth wheel with our 20-foot boat behind it. It wasn't really legal, but over. So, but we usually would just travel down the interstate right to the lake. So we would drop the boat and set up camp. And, but I do remember having problems with mine too. I remember, and it was a brand new one. I remember the converter went out on me like the first trip. I was like, what the heck? So we had like no power. So I tried to find a technician. But yeah, I'm in the same boat. It'd been nice to have an app that I can just say, hey, RV tech. Oh, here's one advertising. Let's talk to him. So it's great. I love that the concept.
You mentioned the converter. I keep one with me because we keep having little things going on. So just in case.
Yeah, I know. I'm the same way. I've got extra parts now. And even like, I told you earlier off camera, I have a Harley. So, well, actually we were talking about it, but yeah, I have a Harley. So now I carry like little extra parts that constantly break on my Harley with me. Like, for example, I was coming back from Sturgis this year and there's a little post for the gear shifter that just uses the teeth to shift. Well, I must have stripped out the teeth. So halfway through, I'm driving back and now I can't shift anymore. So now I have an extra post on the bike, So it's the same thing with camping as you learn over the years what you need to have a little extra on the same hand. So, but avid campers are like ourselves. We kind of know that and understand that. So so this is cool. So what kind of, you were talking earlier, what kind of technologies you have to upgrade to, or I know you said you spent the last 6 months doing some stuff.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Well, so when we started our product, we used some of the newer technology and then kind of, right now it's me and another developer that kind of do all of the development through the app. And so, you kind of have to focus on something. And we're always focusing on new features for our customers and making our current customers happy. And we've done that for years. And so because of that, some of the back-end technologies that we were using were not, we weren't spending as much time keeping those up to date. Yeah. So, I have to decide, okay, well, am I going to add a new integration with NewBook right now, or am I going to spend 6 months updating to a new version of the backend system that no one knows or cares about, right? And so we were just getting to a point where it had to be done. And so because we're going to be better about doing it more timely, so we don't have this long section where it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what we did. So it kind of put off a few things, but now we're kind of getting back into it. We're overhauling our entire events setup, and so that way we have a lot of snowbird resorts. And so one of the things that is going to be very useful for them and what we're changing is being able to add a different calendar of events all over the place. So the pickleball group can have their own calendar. And then they can share events between them. So the main calendar might not have all the practices and stuff like that, but it might have the main tournament on it. And it's also on the pickleball calendar. And then it also can go on to this other calendar. And so they can share between them. There's a ton of little tiny features that you look at any one of them individually, it's like, oh, that's not a big deal. But when you put it all together, it's a bunch of stuff coming out just to do kind of an overhaul of events.
Yeah. Well, this is cool. Then I got to plug myself here. So when you're talking to your snowbirds or your snowbird resorts, I don't know if I've talked to you recently, but I've been doing hosting trivia at a lot of the upcoming conferences and stuff. So it's really cool because I'm doing it twofold. For one, I'm doing trivia at these upcoming conferences as a way to promote the supplier sponsors. Because I get questions from those suppliers, and then people can actually use their phone or their device to play the trivia game. It's really a lot of fun. Yeah. I was just in the Carolinas last week, and I hosted a game there where we traveled around to 5 different parks, and we did questions about each park. But the whole point is that'd be a great time for a trivia, because now, what I'm doing at these conferences, I'm showing the campground owners and staff how they can actually bring the trivia back to their park to play with their campers. Yeah. So that would be a great thing to say, hey, we got trivia tonight. You should come on out or something. So yeah, got to plug that out there. So let them know about it, Joe.
Will do.
Yeah. It's cool too. You got the new book integration, because I just had a podcast with Blake Burris. We all know Blake from all the shows, great guy. And, new book's doing a lot of cool stuff too. So that's cool. So talk to me about the new book integration. How does that work? Or for those who don't know, of course, new book is a reservation software management system. So how do you integrate with those types of companies to make it a better experience?
Yeah. So all of it's about the guest experience. And that's what we're focused on, is guest engagement, guest experience, and communication. And so in this particular case, for, 5 or 6 years, people could go and order firewood or order ice or pizza from their app to be delivered to their site, or pay for tickets for events, anything like that. And up until now, we take credit card. You could have the option just to, cash on delivery, a manual build a site process, which we still do all of that. But now with New Book, if they're using New Book, because they're the ones we can integrate with right now, they can, when they make their purchase, it just goes directly to their folio, their house charge.
Cool.
So that's a big thing, because, they don't have to worry about getting a credit card. You're not running and paying, let's say they're ordering drinks at the pool, because we have campgrounds that do that. Yeah. Every time they're running their credit card, you're spending 30 cents and your percentage. If you're pushing that all out to the end and cashing them out with one, you're not losing 30 cents per drink,
Yeah.
So,
and then room charge at a hotel, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, and
focus on my site.
And that's the other thing. It's giving them that upgraded experience, just like they were at a 5-star hotel that can pay for all these very expensive systems, and it's just kind of built into it. And so that's one thing. They can see all their future or past charges.
Oh, okay.
So they can kind of see the reservations, what site they were on, information like that, right in one place. And then lastly, kind of one of those things that no one knows that was needed, but we already have it. So when someone sends a push notification, they can send it to everyone that has their app, a few different groups of people like seasonals or people that are currently on site. And we use location services for that. Okay. But Apple and Android keep making it harder for people to agree to that. And they make you sound like you're doing something nefarious when just one simple 1 mile radius around a location. And so we can see if they're in-house. And if they're in-house, they get these push notifications. It doesn't matter how far away they are. Yeah. Because you don't want to bother the customers about inclement weather when they're back at home.
Yeah, exactly. That's great. Yeah, I know. I did a lot of stuff with that geo-fencing and stuff with other companies too, and it's getting harder and harder nowadays. But no, that's cool. You guys got some really cool ideas going on with this, and I think it's such a great feature. And you said your first customer you stayed out. Who was your first customer?
Heart Ranch Camping Resort in Rapid
Oh,
City, South Dakota.
oh,
They're a
cool.
membership-based resort. It's 500 sites.
Are they on here?
They they're not on here. So these are
Oh,
campgrounds that did some success stories with us. So they
oh,
were
okay.
interviewed, and if you click into those, there's a whole story about the problem that they were trying to fix.
Oh, okay.
And here was our problem. Here's how we use an app to fix it.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
so,
Yeah.
whether Riverbend's doing sign up sheets, some of them have custom forms that were an issue.
Yeah.
Others keeping track of activities. And
That's
so,
awesome.
but yeah, it's a beautiful resort, and they have, I mean, 10 to 20 activities a day throughout the summer, and just a lot of moving parts. And so it was, it's one of those things where they were our first customer. We got the idea there, and we called them, and it's one of those things where you think, man, this is going to be, we're going to explode, because it was,
Yeah.
as soon as we called him, he's like, I'm ready to go. He had tried building his own, or he had tried getting a marketing company to build an app for him,
Yeah.
and the price was so high they didn't even give him a quote in the end. They said,
Yeah.
you're not going to be able to afford it. So.
Yeah. But then a guy like you come in, like, no, I could do this. So,
Yeah, well, we set it up in a different way where we can reuse the same code, but have each park have their own personality and their own app in the app store.
yeah, that's awesome. I know, and if I remember correctly, everything is marketed towards their logo, their color
100%.
scheme, that type of
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So it looks like it's there. It's not like they're going somewhere
Oh,
else and
it is
like a
100.
third party.
The only way you even know who we exist is we use our developer account.
Oh,
And one of the reasons, like one of the things is it's a lot less work on the campground because they don't have to go and set up that. But
yeah.
outside of that, that icon on their phone is your resorts.
Yeah. I know the one thing I really like too is I remember I helped you lift it was your big old phone looking
Yeah.
kiosk thing that you brought to the pictures. I'm not sure if you're still bringing one or not, but that thing is cool. Like for those who've never seen it, it looks like a giant phone. I mean, it's what, like
Uh-huh.
4 feet long or something, and
That
you
one
go
is
up and
6
touch
foot
it.
tall. That one was six
How
foot
tall is
tall.
it?
6 foot.
It's 6 foot tall. Wow. Yeah.
And it's super heavy.
Oh, I know.
But
I remember helping you lift that thing out. We were at Waco. So,
well, we got it to Ojai last year in Kansas City. I set it
mhm.
up. It was working fine. I left. I came back, and the LCD panel went out, and
Oh my
so
goodness.
it was hidden behind the rigging, and no
I'm
one could
sure
see
that's
it.
not cheap to fix
Uh,
either.
well, right, we didn't fix it. It's actually still sitting in our garage. But we found a newer model that's a lot lighter. That's just a lot different
I
and a
think I
lot
saw that one.
cheaper. Mm-hmm.
You had it at Texas, didn't you? Did you bring it to Texas?
Yes, I have it in
Yeah.
Texas, New York.
Yeah, I saw it at Texas. Yeah, that's a cool little one too. Yeah,
And
I
so
like
we
having
might
that.
end up bringing two of those to Arvik this year, or Ojai this year.
Oh, cool. I'll be at Ojai too. So great. I'll
Yeah,
get to see you.
for sure.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. Yeah, those things are cool. And I mean, it's cool too to be able to just, pull out your phone and look at it as well, but
Yeah,
those little kiosk things.
we don't have a direct kiosk mode yet. It's on the list of things that we need to go ahead and do. But we have probably 5 or 6 customers that are putting their app inside of one of those for customers to use.
Yeah.
They don't notice the kind of some of the pitfalls that might occur there, but
Mhm.
that's why we need a kiosk mode so people can't log in.
Yeah.
And
That makes sense.
they run through and they go to a store item,
Yeah.
buy it, and save their credit card in there.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. The kiosks are cool. I mean, they're really easy to maneuver around.
Mhm.
So again, Joe, I like everything you guys are doing there. I mean, it seems like you got such a great product that people are utilizing and enjoying. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's great. So, yeah, I'll be at Ojai. Yeah,
I
go ahead.
did want to mention like some new
Yeah.
things that we do have coming.
Oh yeah, I was gonna go there.
Is we are going to be desktop enabled soon. So
You're gonna be what?
desktop enabled, yeah.
Oh,
So
cool.
completely web based as well.
All right.
When we created our product, it was for phones only, and it was native code, so it's faster.
Mhm.
But recently, we kind of have really found a need. We've had some more MH parks coming on where people would rather just go to it and buy tickets on their laptop, and so
Yeah.
that's something that's coming soon with it. It looks just like the app. It's not meant to be a new website for you,
Yeah.
but it is a web presence now and another way to use it. Um, and then with when New Book came out, we also introduced some Chat GPT features, some
Oh,
AI
great.
vendors, and we're kind of going to be expanding on that with our new events. One of the concepts that we had that we're going to be pushing out soon is that after you create an event, you click a button and it creates a flyer for you.
Oh, that's cool.
So there's no reason to, manage those in multiple places, because that's the biggest issue that people talk about is I have to manage these in so many different places. So we have activity printouts we can embed on your website. We can import, we can export calendars to your website. And now we can do your printouts as well.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, it sounds like you got a lot of cool stuff going on. So, So, is there anything else that we should know about you got coming up? Do you have any other integrations in the works with other software companies out there? Because I know that's a big talk is about, every time I'm on a Facebook group, I always hear, oh, what software are you using now? Or we're getting ready to switch. And so I don't know if you haven't talked to anybody else yet.
More recently, we kind of have, after talking to the other reservation vendors, we kind of have to put that on our customers, because they need to hear from the customers that we need this. We get asked about it every time we get a new customer, and we have to tell them, okay, well, we can integrate with this one, or we hear that they might have it coming soon. And so, it's one of those things where, we've been told that we have to hear it from our customers. So we've been telling our customers and telling them. So the problem is there's so many different reservation providers that they're only going to hear it from 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. And they might even be telling different people, right? If they tell, Bobby versus the CEO versus their implementation person, it's not really a centralized way to hear that. Yeah.
Well, cool. Do you have anything else on the horizon that you're working on that's exciting besides what you were just talking about?
Mostly the event stuff. The kiosk mode's probably going to come sooner rather than later. I definitely have some plans for next summer, but they're not really fully defined just yet. So,
cool. Well, thanks again, Joe, for being on here. And I don't know if Rose is still back there. Rose, thanks for popping in. I know you do a lot of the work behind the scenes, but I get to see you a lot at the shows, and I see you doing all the LinkedIn stuff, all the social stuff. So it's great seeing both of you, and thank you for being on.
It's good talking to you. Thanks, Bobby.
A lot.
Yeah, everybody, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Supplier Spot Spotlight. Keep shining bright in the RV, park, and campground outdoor hospitality industry. Stay tuned for more illuminating conversations with industry experts. Until next time, enjoy the great outdoors.